Welcome to Cousin Culture for December 9th, 2018. We're up to Oliver. Also, the winter meetings are starting tomorrow, so we'll see how those goes. They last about a week. It's where a lot of trades go down, etc. Anyway, Oliver is a very, very good movie. Rewatching it, it struck me as how influential, everything like that. It's sort of the best example of the kid musical or the family musical. So like Newsies or Pete's Dragon, a lot of the Disney animated films, etc., where it's a family film, but told with the Apple Dumping Gang, etc., where it's a family-friendly film where it's sort of targeted at kids. Oliver's rated G, but and sold in musical form. I really, really like this film. It won 6 Oscars. It won 5 competitive, and then it was also for the choreography. So it's a musical version of Oliver Twist. Sort of. It's very loosely adapted. Which one of the things I like about this film, and this sounds kind of slight, but the actual fact at the beginning of the movie, when it does its screenplay. Credit, it says from Verone Harris, freely adapted from Charles Dickens' Oliver Twist. I really like that phrase, freely adapted, and I wish more films would do that, because I feel like if credits did that, the whole debate about, it's not really like the book would end. Anyway, let me bring up some trailers and some clips. I'll see you in a second. Now, one of the things about it being a musical version of Oliver Twist is, of course, Dickens' novel is quite dark and very sort of depressing, because it's basically a polemic against child labor in the mid-1800s. And the stage show Oliver is a little bit more silly or not nearly as dark. And so one of the things I like about this movie is I think it absolutely captures the tone, where it's not so like I've seen the stage show, and always felt like the stage show is a little bit too it's too light. It's too far from the novel's tone, and it comes across as just too sentimental, and too kiddie, too kid friendly. The movie actually manages to very, very well sort of split the difference, where it's it's still ultimately a family film, and it's still ultimately very kid friendly, but it does have just enough of the sort of bite and Dickinson feel to it that it doesn't feel like it feels weighty. It doesn't feel just silly. It feels sort of like a good tale that has enough darkness in it. And I think one of the main reasons for that is Oliver Reed plays Bill Sikes, and he gives a very good, very dark performance, and he really fits the character. And he's very, very scary. And the best part of it is Oliver Reed cannot sing. And so they decided, instead of trying to find a person who could sing and play Bill Sikes, to just cut that song. And so there's actually one song missing from the movie that's in the stage show, and it's the Bill Sikes song, which I'm not going to sing. Excuse me. And I think that one change really helped the sort of the novel, the movie feel closer to the novel than the stage show, while also feeling like the stage show. I think Reed, the director, and Reed, the actor, did a really good job of splitting the difference. And I really like how this film, you can pop it on for your kids, but also it feels a bit like a lot like the Dickens novel, and a lot of that's also in the technical aspects, of course, because of the art direction sort of drab and creaky looking, and the clothes look nice, but they're like patchy and everything, and everything like that. And so the visual aspects of the film sort of balance the score. Now the score and sort of the silliness of the score. Now the lyrics in the music is wonderful. And Lionel Bart, who's the guy who wrote the book and the music, he actually had no formal training in music, so it's kind of remarkable. He would basically just hum it for someone, and sort of sing it, and then they would record what he sung, and it just sort of worked, which is really kind of amazing. So there's that. In any case, I really like in this movie. I think it's sort of the perfect family film. Now, there is a couple things I want to talk about more specifically. One of them is the choreography. I'm going to show two scenes from the film, and I want people to pay attention to the choreography. I actually think that the choreography is some of the best stuff I've ever seen, because of the way in which it sort of tells the story, and a lot of it's not just there to look pretty or be choreography. It actually ends up telling the story. But before that, I want to show this one moment, because the other thing I want to talk about is Fagin, played by Ron Moody, and this is my favorite entire moment in the entire movie, where he's like, "Shut up and drink your gin," which is funny and witty, but it's also very Dickinson because it's incredibly dark. Because he's young and like a 9-year-old, 6 or 7-year-old, or a 9-year-old, that you're bothering me, so go get drunk on gin. And it's sort of a kind of a scary moment for kids, but it's also a great joke for adults. Anyway, so this is Fagin. And to my money, this song and this scene is one of the best musical scenes of all time. The song is "You Need to Pick a Pocket or Two," and it's a villain song. It has sort of the equivalency of "Be Prepared" or "Hellfire" or "Your Poor Unfortunate Souls" from the Disney films. And the choreography here is absolutely amazing, because the function of this song and scene narratively is to get Oliver basically trained to be a pickpocket, and so he ends up turning it into a little bit of a game, and it's just sort of amazing the way in which it ends up working like this. And Moody, if you don't know, he's basically only known for this because Ron Moody, he's the he was typecast as Fagin because he did it on the stage show, he did it in the movie, and he's like Bela Lugosi and Dracula. And in any case, one of the reasons why I really like this song is Ron Moody. He gives a great roguish villain, and he's absolutely hysterical while also being kind of fatherly. Like he's sort of a bad father, like a bad, like a fatherly figure, but he's he's kind of kind and amusing, and he's not really he's his ends aren't bad because he's just trying to survive, and he's trying to take care of these kids, but at the same time they don't seem all that mistreated given the overall context. And there's an absolute distinction between Fagin and Sykes, and that Sykes is clearly the worst of the two people, and he's violent, and Fagin will not go that. And there's just something about this performance that's absolutely hysterical, and absolutely lovable. Like he's a lovable rogue. So there's that. So if you combine that with the choreography, as well as the music, which is absolutely delightful, it just adds up to be an absolutely great song. And because it's so utterly perfect, it's a great villain song, and it's one of my favorite thing. And then the other sort of thing with sort of Reed, the director's direction, is this space here, which is like the hideout. They're in it a lot. I guess like a third of the movie takes place in it. And he keeps the camera alive, and he keeps it moving, and keeps the editing in time with the film, and it just ends up being really, really engaging in that way. So there's that. Ron Moody was actually nominated for Best Actor. Kind of wish he won. I really do enjoyed this performance. Now there is a aspect of this film. Oh, actually, before that, one of the things that is important in terms of how we think about this character is this is really the first adult in the film that shows Oliver any sort of kindness. And he's actually, and again, he's not his means are bad, but his ends are good. Whereas Sykes' ends are both bad. Like, ends and means are both bad. Anyway, so there's this moment right here where he's like, the kid's trying to steal a watch. He's like, come back. You did a good job. You're trying to screw me over, which is really deeply amusing to me. It's kind of a sensible name type thing. I absolutely love this sort of roguish character. In any case, now there is some... okay, through the machinations of the plot, Sykes is threatening him, so he's going to be singing a song here. Him reviewing the situation. And this is another song. I wish I could play the music, but I can't because of copyright, but I can't. Any case, it's sound, and then this is where it gets into the issue. Oh, let me just say this also about the choreography, because he's trying to basically leave the situation, so he keeps getting further and further closer to the door, and he keeps going back. I just really like that grand joke of this song. Now, one of the issues, and it is from the novel. And this song, this is why I wish you could hear it, because it sounds Jewish. And Fagin, the character, is famously Jewish. And the unfortunate, now this isn't a problem just with Oliver. It's a problem with Oliver Twist and everything like that. In the original novel of the movie, his Jewishness is absolutely played up. And focused on in a way which ends up making... I mean, of course, he's stereotypically Jewish looking. He's hook nose, beard, hand gestures, etc. And it's a little bit awkward knowing that. Anyway, so it's so bad in the novel that Dickens himself in the 1800s realized he wouldn't use the word, but he realized it was overdone, and he was focusing too much on being his Jewishness, and so it became anti-Semitic. Again, Dickens would not say it's anti-Semitic because I'm not sure that word was existing, but he actually edited it down. Now, in Oliver the movie, I still think there's sort of that implicit anti-Semitism with this character, just because it's so embedded within the text. And time and everything like that. See what I mean by he keeps going back to the door? Everything like that. That I think ultimately you have to say he's anti-Semitic. And the thing is, the way in which Moody plays him, and then sort of the changes around the text, make it such that he... because he's more sympathetic in Oliver than he is in Oliver Twist. And so it comes across, again, because he's so stereotypically Jewish. And even in the situation when they downplay it, he still comes across as fairly Jewish. That he doesn't come across quite as evil, much more sympathetic. And I absolutely sort of love that. Now, with that being, I love that he's a lovable rogue. But with that being said, it's still sort of awkward watching this movie. Given the character's history and everything like that. Anyway, so that's going to be pretty much it for Cubs and Culture. I really like Oliver Twist. It's a great family film. See you guys tomorrow. Have a good night. Cubs and Culture out.